Thank you for joining us today. You are now listening to the Post Route. Here is your host, W. Earl Kitchings.
Good evening and welcome to the Post Route, where we bring you interesting conversations with Black quarterbacks, both past and present. This show is a part of Quarter Five Back, the preeminent fraternity of Black quarterbacks and home of the BIP Memorial Trophy, which is the only award presented annually to the top HBCU quarterback and the top Black quarterback from high schools across the country. Again, I'm W. Earl Kitchings, and always happy to be with you, our guests, our visitors, our viewers, and our listeners. You know, I was recently asked, how did the post route, AKA, and Quarter Five Back, how did that all come to be? Well, today's show is going to tell you about our journey on this path for becoming the preeminent fraternity of Black quarterbacks. Because before us, there were just quarterbacks, there were just Black quarterbacks. But now we have created the fraternity, and the fraternity is a special group of guys, and we are building and building every day, every week. So let me just get you started about how all of this got started. So we started with this. This is where everything started from. It started from me having an idea of acknowledging, wanting to maintain the legacies of Black quarterbacks, because in my time here on this planet, I have witnessed a lot of football. Trust me, I've seen a lot of football, both live and on TV. And I've witnessed the evolving of Black quarterbacks at the collegiate and professional levels in the major media streams. Now, growing up, it was nothing for me to see a Black quarterback at a Black college or a Black high school, because when this country was immersed in segregation, those are the only quarterbacks I really could witness and watch. Although on TV, on Saturdays, when they would have one particular game, a college game, or one particular program on Sundays, I would see those other quarterbacks. But other than that, I was really relegated to seeing Black quarterbacks, and seeing them at the collegiate level and high school levels. Me, like my friends and people I grew up with in the neighborhood, that's who we saw. Wasn't naturally who we emulated sometimes, because my quarterback of record was always Johnny Unitas. But when we go to a Black high school game or a Black college game, it was somebody different. And understanding how quarterbacks from Black colleges, or quarterbacks who were Black, were not provided the opportunity to be a starter for a professional team, for a college team at the major level, and understanding what that has been, what that path has been, what that journey has been for these men, and how they were slighted, or they were provided with an aptitude test that they had to respond to, and the results were published for their scores. Their scores were published, but their counterparts, the white quarterback scores, were not published. And this was all done to minimize or to eliminate them from ever being the field general of a particular football team. And because that is what happened, and because I'm aware of that, something hit me one day in 2021, and it just caused me to go on this rampage of research to identify all these black quarterbacks that I knew about, some I didn't know about, and put together a book. And as I've come to become a sports historian, and that came by accident to a degree because it wasn't something I set out to be, but my knowledge of sports history, especially football, caused me to write this book, The Forgotten QBs, the little known history, information, statistics about black quarterbacks who played the game of American college football. Because between high school and the pros, that's the conduit to connect both sides. You can go from high school to college, then to the pros, but there's never been anybody to go from high school to the pros. So you got to go through college to get there. So in writing this book, compiling this information, putting these short bios together of all these men and what they had done, and all these men and what they had done at the HBCUs, historically black colleges and universities, at the mid-major and major level, at the Division II level at white colleges, I felt the passion to make sure that their history and their legacies aren't ever forgotten. So I wrote the book, self-published the book, put it out, got people to purchase it. They enjoyed it. The late Butch McAdams, Coach Butch McAdams up in Washington, D.C., had the opportunity to be on one of his sports talk shows twice. But the first time we spoke, he was so impressed with the book that he said, "Earl, you have a Bible of black quarterbacks." And I never forgot him for saying that. And God rest his soul. Thank you, Coach Butch McAdams, for me having the opportunity to be on your show before you left us with such a legacy. But knowing that we have all these quarterbacks who have played this game over time. Here we are in 2024. I wrote the book in 2021, published it in 2021. When I think about going all the way back to 1900, from 1900, I mean, we're talking about over 100 years. When we talk about the first known black quarterback in pro football, Fritz Pollard. We featured the first known quarterback that I'm aware of who played at a white college up at Ohio University. And Arthur Carr is the gentleman's name. And there he is right there. Arthur Carr went on to become a physician and lived in Washington, D.C. Did not know about him. Ran across a picture in one of their newsletters and went, wow, isn't this amazing? And isn't this interesting? That the things that are coming to me about my book just seem to fall into my lap almost. And as I have told several people, that if you are truly a believer in the Almighty God above, and you know he is an amazing spirit, we've heard the saying and the slogan, what God has for you is meant just for you. And because I sincerely believe that with all these quarterbacks, all these black quarterbacks who have excelled at all levels, they could have done a book, they could have created an organization, they could have created an award. But interestingly enough, the man upstairs, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, you can have your own, but the facts are the facts. In my opinion, he saved this ministry, this mission, this project, whatever you want to term it, for me to do. And I embrace it with my whole heart and all my energy. So from that book, we came to coming to an idea of beyond the book, because I shared this idea with a friend of mine, and he put me in touch with a friend of his, and I made a call to a gentleman by the name of Dennis Crosby, and we got to speaking, and he saw the book, heard about the book, and he said something very prolific. He said, "Man, you sound like you got a fraternity of black quarterbacks," and that struck a chord. I'm like, a fraternity of black quarterbacks, and without even giving it a whole lot of thought, I responded to him. I said, "Dennis, you mean something like quarter-five back?" And he went like, "Yeah." I'm like, quarter-five back, quarter PHI back, like a fraternity. And from that conversation, the organization and the awards, quarter-five back, were born. And from that time in December of 2021, as we approach the third anniversary of quarter-five back in this December, I'm grateful to my dear friend who passed a year or so ago, Ahmed Ali. Thank you, my brother, for all the times we shared together, all the conversations and enlightenment you gave me, for putting me in touch with this gentleman who gave me the idea of quarter-five back. So from that, it's like, okay, well, we got quarter-five back. I got to add a logo. I got to do something. I got to create something to give us some type of imagery. So the name quarter-five back is one thing, but then when you talk about a logo, how do you create a logo? What do you come up with? And of course, it starts around the quarterback position. And I had to think about what I wanted to do. And initially, the thought was to utilize a very well-known quarterback. And I was on that path to do that. And then something told me, well, all the legal aspects you have to go through, that may be more than you want to deal with. So I abandoned that idea and went to something else. And ironically, I reverted back to a photograph that a friend of mine had given me about a gentleman who my father, who coached him in high school, said was the best quarterback he ever had. And that guy's name was Oliver Joyce. Oliver Joyce. And because of him leading my father's team to the first ever state championship for black high schools in the state of Florida, and because there was a photograph of him, because he went to Florida A&M upon graduation in 1959, I chose to take that photograph and add it to the words quarter-five back. That's him, a picture, an artistic rendition of him in the photograph, of him kind of like doing a jump quarterback pose. And a gentleman by the name of Corey Denson, and thank you, Corey, for your artistic expertise in doing this, created my concept. So I want you to understand that you see a Q. In the middle, you have to imagine the Greek letter phi. And phi is like a circle drawn with a line drawn through the middle. So on each side of the quarterback, you see like football laces. That represents the concept of the circle, and that quarterback in the middle represent that line that goes through the phi. So that's the phi, and then there's the B. So that is the logo, quarter-phi back. That's who we are, quarter five back. So our logo is what it is. And we are transitioning because that logo is now in the hands of legal people to make sure that we get that thing legally marked with the government. So quarter five back is that entity. And Oliver Joyce is the person that we've chosen to help us with the logo. Now, when we go back to Oliver Joyce, and again, we're talking about a guy who, when he graduated from high school, he said he wanted to be a doctor. He wanted to be a physician. Very intelligent young man. He was about 6 feet, 6'1", maybe about 205. And in 1958, that's a pretty big guy. Playing quarterback, that's a pretty big guy. And he also played linebacker. So here he is at Florida A&M playing third team quarterback on the iconic and legendary Jake Gaither for the Florida A&M Rattlers. And they are preparing for a game that was going to be played in Oliver Joyce's hometown of Jacksonville, Florida, that Saturday. And I believe this was a Monday or Tuesday practice. And for whatever reason, during practice, he was moved over to linebacker position. Not a big deal. Probably, done that before. But on this particular day, tragedy would strike. As Oliver Joyce went to tackle one of the top running backs on the team by the name of Robert China Doll Paramore, whose running style, if you remember Roger Craig with the San Francisco 49ers, ran with high knees. You run. Oliver Joyce went to tackle Robert Paramore in practice and was struck by one of those high knees. And he was instantly struck down to the practice field. Serious neck injury. As a matter of fact, his neck was broken. And you can imagine the devastation that happened on that practice field with the coaches, with teammates, how impactful that was. And during those next few days, Coach Gaither would go visit Oliver in the hospital on the FAMU campus. FAMU had its own hospital back then. And he was very saddened by the fact that he was injured. He told the coach he had let the team down, but he was going to come back and he was going to play again. And don't worry, coach, I'm going to bounce back. And Oliver Joyce never recovered. And by that Sunday, he was gone. And they used to have a collection fund at games for him to raise money for his single parent mother to help with whatever expenses or things that she may have experienced. But I felt it not robbery to name the trophy after him. And the trophy does not bear his given name. It does not bear the name Oliver Joyce. It bears the name Bip. That was his nickname. And that's what our annual award for the top HBCU and the top black quarterback at the high school level is. It is called the Bip Memorial Trophy, named after Oliver Joyce. And when I put that in front of folks, some folks ask me, well, what's a Bip? Well, Bip was the name of the guy who the award is named after. So I tell the story about who he was and how tragically he paid the ultimate price for the sport of football. The ultimate price. When you lose your life in the game or in practice, you've paid the ultimate price. So he did that. And because of that, we have the Bip Memorial Trophy. And as you see on the screen, he was posthumously inducted into the FAMU Sports Hall of Fame in 1989. I mean, he didn't even finish out a full season, but as a freshman, third string on the football team for Jake Gaither, he was special. So we came up with the Bibb Memorial Trophy. And this is what our award looks like. And just so you know, that's not glass, that is crystal. Those awards are crystal. And in recognizing Oliver Joyce and naming the trophy after him, the Bibb Memorial Trophy, in 2022, the first ever time we awarded these awards to individuals, the first Bibb Memorial Trophy for HBCU went to Shedeur Sanders of Jackson State when he was at Jackson State, and Prentice Air Nolan, and Air is not a nickname, that is his name, Prentice Air Nolan of Langston Hughes High in Fairburn, Georgia, who is now a freshman, will be a freshman on the football team this upcoming fall at Ohio State University. And these young men were recognized because of their statistical play on the football field. Shedeur led all HBCUs in passing, and Prentice led his team with over 4,000 yards in passing, 52 touchdowns, 15-0 record, and a state championship. So those are what the awards look like, the Bibb Memorial Trophy. In 2023, the Bibb Memorial Trophy went to high school and went to DJ Lagway, who will be playing football at the University of Florida this fall. And ironically, Jeremy Musa of Florida A&M, who led the Rattlers to the Black National College Football Championship in December 2023. Ironically, Musa of Florida A&M gets the award for a guy who played at Florida A&M. So that's how we have come to being Quarter Phi back, the preeminent fraternity of Black quarterbacks. So creating all of these things led us to one more entity of what we're doing. And that's what you have on your YouTube screen or what you watch whenever you choose to, the post route. That is probably the route that it can be a short post, it can be a skinny post, it can be a deep post. But on any one of those plays, the end result could be 6 points. And because that is the play, when we were growing up, we used to just call it the bomb. You just go deep, and the guy threw it as far as he could. But our show, the post route, has become a part of what we do here at Quarter Phi Back. It was not just enough to write a book. It was not just enough to award a memorial trophy. We felt we needed to do something else. So we created a TV show. Now, initially, what we were going to do was to create a documentary. But the documentary thing, time, energy, resources, would have probably taken us a while. But to create the show we now have, the Post Route, and ideally, the Post Route newsletter. Because the newsletter, if you go to the website Quarter Phi Back and click on blog, the newsletters give a short overview of colleges and the Black quarterbacks who have played there and their statistics, their photographs, just a little bit about what they did to be accomplished at these schools. So go to our website at quarterphiback.com and check out the Post Route newsletter. We are updating that on a regular basis as often as we can. You know, researching things takes some time, but there are enough of them on the blog where if you have read all of them, very good. There are more to come. If you're reading your first one, be inspired. Tell somebody about it. Tell somebody about Quarter Phi Back. Let them know that we are the preeminent fraternity for Black quarterbacks. And as we continue to grow what we're doing, both on Twitter and Instagram, we're looking to become an entity, a media entity that is very well respected and given our props for doing what we're doing. And if you are interested, because this is our other logo that, when you talk about quarter five back, well, what does the Greek logo look like? Well, this is what we call our Greek logo, quarter five back. That's what we use. Q5B in short. So we won't be a part of the Divine Nine, but we are the preeminent fraternity for Black quarterbacks. Q5B, quarter five back. And we are proud to be this entity to bring you our show and our newsletters and our awards. So we hope that you join us every week here on the show. And if you would like to do more, here's what you can do. If you're interested in becoming a supporter of Quarter Five Back and you like our show, The Post Route, for $4.40 via Zelle, as you see on the screen, Zelle at 904-994-2189, you can become a supporter. We'll get you out your decal and your certificate as being a supporter. $4.40. Now, the $4.40 is emblematic of the number 44 that Oliver Joyce, Bip, wore when he was at Florida A&M, 44. If you want to do a little bit more, then you can become a teammate of Quarter Five Back, $44. Send it in to Zelle, 904-994-2189. You'll become a 2024 teammate, and you'll get your decal, your certificate, and you'll get one of these lovely T-shirts, Quarter Five Back T-shirts, to let people know that you're a part of supporting this group of Black quarterbacks who are making history and creating legacies. While we got time now, we're going to take a short break and let you know who our sponsors are. And once again, this is the Post Route Show. I'm your host, W. EARL Kitchings. And each week, we like to bring you information or interviews about Black quarterbacks around the country. As a matter of fact, we've also had interviews with quarterbacks who've played internationally. So we have crossed over into being international, because once they have been on the show and they play for teams in Europe and Germany, Mexico, that makes you international. So that's Quarter Five Back is steadily growing. One of the sponsors that we would like to thank for being a supporter of what we're doing, and they are the company that create and produce our T-shirts, is the Anthony Lawrence Collection. As they say, get the quality you deserve. If you went to an HBCU, if you're looking for some gear, NCAA licensed merchandise, check them out at AnthonyLawrenceCollection.com, located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. If you're out there in Baton Rouge, stop by their store at 7556 Bluebonnet Boulevard out in Baton Rouge. Tell them you heard about them from the Post Route Show, and see if they can satisfy your HBCU needs for the gear you're looking to wear. And then, of course, if you have not gotten your copy of my book, The Forgotten QBs, you can go to our website at quarterfiveback.com, click on the book icon, and order your copy of The Forgotten QBs, the little known history, information, and statistics about Black quarterbacks in American college football. I guarantee you need to add that to your collection of sports books, because there's not another book probably in this format like it. And we are already working on the second edition of The Forgotten QBs. The first edition went from 1990 to 1992. The next one will be from 1903 to 1992. And from there, we're going to go from 1993 through today. That's The Forgotten Quarterbacks. Check us out, quarterfiveback.com, our website, and order your copy today. want to go back to our awards again because, as you know, we are the preeminent black fraternity, a fraternity rather, for black quarterbacks. And we are embarking on our 2024 season. We will be starting our watch list, our preseason watch list. And we're going to ask that if you want to follow us, go to quarter_5_back on Instagram to follow us online. You can go to EARL Kitchings at quarter5back on Twitter. And you will start to see our watch list. As a matter of fact, we're going to launch a weekly segment called Watch List Wednesdays. And each Wednesday, starting with this football season, starting in about 2 weeks, we're going to put out our weekly HBCU and national watch list for black quarterbacks at the high school level so that you can see who these gentlemen are as they proceed and progress through the 2024 season. Had it not been for this watch list and us following quarterbacks like DJ Lagway, we would have never known how great this young man was because he won all the awards for high school, not just quarterback, but all the football awards. I mean, Gatorade National Player of the Year, Max Prep National Player of the Year, Texas Player of the Year. There was another award he won. He just won them all. And he won the BIP Memorial Trophy. So we're proud to honor DJ Lagway, and we're looking forward to those high school quarterbacks who return this year to put their skills and talents to use on the football field so that we will see who will be honored as our BIP Memorial Trophy for both HBCU and high school. Jeremy Musa went on to some professional football camps. I don't know if he landed with anyone yet, but we're hoping that things work out for him and all black quarterbacks who are seeking such positions. There was another influx of them going into the NFL this year. So they are making their marks, and we are proud to recognize those who are making their marks at high school and moving on to college, because when they make it in the pros, we'll be able to say he was a BIP Memorial Trophy winner. So that is the history and the story of how we got to be quarter-5 back. And we are just ecstatic over the fact that we can bring this type of programming, this type of information, these type of interviews to make you aware and make you know some of the quarterbacks who have taken their rightful place at their colleges, at their high schools, and beyond. And each week, we ask you to tune in at 7 p.m. on Monday nights for the Post Route show, where I will host interviews with black quarterbacks, past and present. As a matter of fact, not only past and present, not just the ones from the college level, but we are working to bring you quarterbacks from the high school level too. And just recently we had a quarterback who contacted us and thanked us for being put on our watch list that is going to be released. Mr. Darnell Kelly, we were welcoming him to our family. And as soon as we can get confirmation from he and his parents to be on the show, we're going to bring you him and let you hear from a young upstart here at the Post Route, because as soon as that happens, you know, he becomes a member of the fraternity, and we're excited about that. So we're looking forward to him and other guys coming on the show this upcoming year. So we have so much work to do that we need your help. Send in your support membership, either as a supporter or a teammate, $4.40 gets you a supporter on Zelle at 904-994-2189. There it is on the screen. Or a teammate level. For $44, you get your certificate, your sticker, and the Quarter-5 Back t-shirt. $44. Send it in the Zelle at 904-994-2189. Support us so that we can continue to do the job that we're doing. We are working on other merchandise as we go forward. And as we prepare to release some of that merchandise for you, our fans and our viewers, we hope that you will become very much involved in our efforts, because there's nothing out there like what we're doing. We are that entity, that media entity that is bringing you something very unique. And if you have any pride in watching or memorializing these guys who you watched on TV over the years in the past, or guys you never heard about, help us out here at Quarter-5 Back and the Post Route by becoming a member. I would like to thank my esteemed crew. First, let me thank our advisory council for all the work that you do in helping us select our Built Memorial Trophy winners each year. We are about to embark on the 2024 season, so work will resume shortly. But as far as this show goes and the Instagram goes, I'd first like to thank my social media director, Mr. Kemal Lazier, for all the work that he's doing. He's putting out some great stuff on Instagram. Follow us at quarter_5_back on Instagram to see all the great posts and information and work he's putting out. And go to quarter5back.com, click on blog to check out our newsletters about the quarterbacks who have paid their dues at their colleges. Some of them you probably will not be recognizing, but they're the ones who continue to lay down these foundations. And as the young ones grow, the new ones come along. And of course, I would like to thank my esteemed show producer and director. She has made a great impact on what I do here, and I'm thankful that she's able to come on and make this show possible. Miss Ronleen Kennedy, thank you so very much for all your work that you do behind the scenes and working with our guests to get them on the show each and every week. Well, that's going to wrap it up for me today. I hope that you've enjoyed our show. Again, that was the history of Quarter-5 Back and the Post Route. And if you don't know, share it with someone and get you a copy of our book, The Forgotten QBs, so you can enjoy the book and share the history. I'm W. Earl Kitchings. Until next Monday, have a great week. And as we always say here at the Post Route, go deep and go for the bomb. Take care, everybody. Have a great week.